We have someone who watches the weather really, really closely. His name is Mark SIROIS, and he's a meteorologist. We call him the Weather Whisperer. And he's been following this storm, or well, I guess the watch situation, at least for the Montreal area, for the last couple of hours. And he joins us on the line. Good afternoon, Malk.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Great. And how are you? Is this an exciting time to be under a tornado watch, like as a meteorologist who likes to follow these sort of things?
It would be even more interesting if it was my full-time job, but I actually just got out of a client meeting a few minutes ago, and I find myself in St. Anne de Bellevue as I position myself to see where I'm going to go to follow this. But I will say something pretty urgent right now, which is I do see rotation on radar close to Van Cleek Hill in Ontario. So it's just east of Fournier, heading for Van Cleek Hill, and it's very possible that there's an actual tornado on the ground as we speak.
Okay, well, thank you for that update. Are you in St. Anne's just because that's where your meeting was, or did that seem like a good vantage point for today?
I was in DDO, and then I said, let me head out as west as I can, and then reposition myself with the radar to see, am I chasing or am I not chasing? And I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing.
So right now it's heading towards Montreal. Is there any indication about how severe this storm could be for Ontario and right along to Montreal?
These storms are quite intense, and so we knew for probably the last 36 hours that the making was going to come today for such storms. The rain that we got this morning and now the intense sun that I'm getting here in St. Anne de Bellevue is just feeding this line of storms. So the food is there for it to just keep on building. And the conditions, especially we have some wind shear that's helping take any rotation and then making it go vertical. So the conditions are just ripe for tornadic activity here.
Mark Sirois is the Weather Whisperer. He's a meteorologist, and we are reaching him in St. Anne de Bellevue, where he is watching the developing storm, what could be a storm headed that way. You're saying the most recent thing is that you think it's headed towards Van Cleek Hill. We are aware that there was a touchdown in Barrhaven, a suburb about 20 kilometers south of the city core of Ottawa. Hearing some reports from the police there of debris in Barrhaven. What do you know about the touchdown there from earlier this afternoon?
Well, what I can see from the history of this particular cell, this is the same cell now that's finding itself heading towards Van Cleek Hill. So it had rotation, it did a touchdown, it lifted, and now it appears that it's repositioned itself. Now, I don't know if it's a funnel that's actually touching the ground right now, but there is enough rotation here to be of concern. So I'm thinking that we probably are looking at another tornado right now. And this is then heading towards Lachute afterwards, and then Mirabel and so on. So this particular cell is got the rotation, but we got a whole line of storms here that are, going to affect Montreal, Laval. I think the greatest likelihood of tornado activity is going to be, west and north of the island of Montreal. I think there's going to be some more opportunities for New York State. But I think there's going to be a breakage in the intensity. But once again, anything can happen here because it's a very volatile environment with all the sun and evaporation going on. But I think my gut feel is if you're west of Montreal and north of Montreal, pay very close attention to radar because these storms are very intense.
I do often go through that area north through Lachute and Mirabel sometimes on the way home, and a lot of flat ground there. So probably, I'm assuming, you tell me, Mark, if that is ripe ground for tornadoes. And we're also seeing warnings in not so flat areas like around the St. Lawrence Seaway. Is that kind of surprising that we're having warnings in Little Burgundy actually for later today?
Well, it's the more vertical build that you've got, so buildings and skyscrapers, it kind of doesn't help the continuation of a tornado. But the West Island of Montreal, although there's some buildings, it's relatively flat, so it could happen. But yes, the flatter the ground, the more it helps keep a tornado active for a longer period of time if it's doing a touchdown. So the flatter, the more prone it is for some severe stuff.
So, Mark, you were warning for the west of the island and to the north of the island. If I've got the kids with soccer practice tonight, or if I had plans to meet people for a picnic, what's your best advice?
Well, these storms, we've got two lines here. We got the main one, and then we've got a secondary line behind it. So, if you've got outdoor activities, of course, these tornadoes or a chance or risk of tornadoes is not going to help any outdoor activities. But I think just rain-wise and in terms of trying to get a picnic done or a soccer game in for at least the next 3 to 4 hours, it's going to be pretty touch and go with rainfall when we just talk about the Montreal area. And then eastward, then it's another story. It continues on for the evening as well. I wouldn't necessarily be counting on any outdoor activities being successful.